Hello everyone, welcome back. So today in this video I am going to discuss about what is ad hoc testing in software testing, and it's a very important questions for interview also. So now coming to the our main topic, that is what is ad hoc testing. So what ad hoc testing says, just I am giving you one basic example. So what we will do on different testing, like unit testing, integration testing, system testing. So basically in this testing, first we check the requirement. First we see the requirement which is already given by the client or customer. Then as per requirement, we will test that. Okay. So that is basically apply for like unit testing, integration testing, system testing. That's all. But in the ad hoc testing, what we will do in ad hoc testing? Suppose we don't have any requirement. So whenever we are testing any applications, so we don't have any requirement, or if there is any requirement, we are not check that requirement. So two things is that, one, there is no requirement, or second one is that, let's say there is requirement but we kept it side, we are not following the requirement, then we are randomly testing any application. That is called ad hoc testing. Now let me clear once again. So in the unit testing, component testing, system testing, integration testing, so these testing types, first how we will test? First we check the requirement, we see the requirement, and based upon that requirement we test it. Okay. But in that ad hoc testing, we are not, there is two things. One is that maybe there is no requirement, so client has not given any requirement to us, or the second thing is that we have a requirement but we are not seeing the requirement whenever we are testing. Means we are kept that side. So we are kept the requirement side, and then we are randomly testing any application. That is called ad hoc testing, right? So in a simple term, the definition, ad hoc testing definition says that testing any applications randomly without looking the requirement, right? So testing the application randomly without looking the requirement, that is nothing but called as a requirement. So that is nothing but called as a ad hoc testing. So now you guys are very much clear that what is ad hoc testing says. So we are testing the applications, but how we will test? We will test the application randomly without looking the requirement. If there is no requirement, then we test the application randomly. That is called as a ad hoc testing. So in ad hoc testing, we can say it as like, the few names are there. So ad hoc testing, different names are like, we can say it as a negative testing, right? Because we don't have any requirement, or if there is requirement, we are kept it side. That means we are randomly testing. So negative testing says the same thing. That's why ad hoc testing also says a negative testing. Also we can say it as a gorilla testing, or we can say it as a monkey testing. Monkey testing means what monkeys do? Monkeys, they jump one tree to another tree randomly. Like same thing, as a tester we will test randomly without looking the requirement. So that's why it is also called as a monkey testing. Okay, so now you guys are very much clear about what is ad hoc testing. Now there is a question. So how we will test ad hoc testing, or why we will test ad hoc testing? So how test engineer test the ad hoc testing, or why they will test the ad hoc testing, right? So why? Because so we cannot tell that Suppose customer has given some requirement, and as per requirement our development team has developed that, and our testing team has tested that application. Now we cannot tell you that how the customer will test. So whenever we have done our applications and we have hand over the applications or product to the customer, now we cannot assure, or we cannot 100% assure that how the customer will test. So customer will check as per their wish. So there is nothing control in our hand how customer will test. So the customer will test as per their wish. Maybe they can test randomly, right? So that's why we will test the ad hoc testing, because ad hoc testing says that testing the applications randomly without looking the requirement. So customer will test customer before the customer is checking any types of random testing. Before that we will test the random testing. So now why we will do ad hoc testing? Because it's a very simple answer. So we cannot assure that how the customer will test the application. Maybe customer can randomly test the application. So for this reason we will do the ad hoc testing. Means customer will randomly test the application without any requirement, maybe. So if we as a test engineer we do the ad hoc testing, then we can 100% make sure that there is no defect in our software. So let's say today I have submitted my application to the customer. Now customer will check the application randomly. So maybe there is chance if we do not if we don't test any type of ad hoc testing, maybe there is a chance that customer can get any type of issue. So as we are doing ad hoc testing, as a test engineer we are doing ad hoc testing, so we are now most probably sure that customer will not getting any type of issue if they are doing ad hoc testing, because we have already done that. So we have already done in our end. Now customer can easily test their applications without looking the requirement. So just assume one thing. So whenever any developer develop the application, so obviously they will develop the applications as per the requirement, and now developer will hand over that application to the test engineer. Now test engineer will also test the applications as per the requirement. Okay, so that is fine, so there is no issues. But whenever the tester are testing any application but they are not looking any type of requirement, they are just keep aside that requirement, and the test engineer will randomly test. So it is necessary, it is very much necessary. So if you are a tester, you have to also do that thing. So each and everything, if we follow the requirement, obviously we will follow the requirement, that is fine. So first we will follow the requirement. So as per requirement is working perfectly fine or not, we have to check that. But apart from that, also we have to check the application by ad hoc basis. Okay, so if we do the random testing, what we can assure? So if we do the ad hoc testing, we can make sure that any condition, any possible way, any scenarios, whatever we apply on that applications, that application should working perfectly fine, right? So make sure all of these things. So we will do the ad hoc testing. So now guys, I think you are very much clear about that, why we will use or why we will go for ad hoc testing. Now fine. Now what is the main purpose? What is the main purpose of ad hoc testing? Now what is the main purpose of ad hoc testing? So the main motive or main purpose of ad hoc testing is that, suppose I am a tester or you are a tester. Now as a tester, what is our first responsibility? That anyhow we have to break the application. So now suppose customer has given some requirement, and as per the requirement developed has developed that, and developed has unit tested that. So developer has already do their unit testing. So now whenever we are testing the application as per the requirement, now maximum time we cannot get any type of defect, because already developer has developed that with that as per following that requirement, and also as per the requirement they have tested. So maximum time we cannot found any type of issue or any type of defect. So as a tester, our main motto is that anyhow we have to break the application. So now how we break the application? We have to jump on that random testing, means ad hoc testing. So if we directly jumped on that ad hoc testing, now we can break the applications. There is a maximum chance that if we do the ad hoc testing, so we can break the application. So what is the main purpose of ad hoc testing? That we have to check with random basis, and we have to break the applications. So that is the main purpose of ad hoc testing. Okay, now coming to that next point is that when we will do ad hoc testing. When we will do ad hoc testing, suppose whenever we are as a test engineer, let's say I am a test engineer. Whenever as a test engineer I am testing any product or any application, then nobody says you that please do the ad hoc testing. Nobody says. Okay, so we have to do the ad hoc testing. Our responsibility as a test engineer, our responsibility to do the ad hoc testing. But in your company or in your project, nobody says that please do the ad hoc testing, because their main focus is that as per the client requirement, my software is working perfectly fine or not. So that is their main funda. But as a test engineer, we have to do the ad hoc testing, because so in the companies nobody will tell you that please do the ad hoc testing. Okay, so their main motto or their main aim is to check that as per the requirement the application is working perfectly fine or not. So as a tester, our main motto is that, our main target is that anyhow we have to break the software, right? How we have to how we can break the software? Obviously by ad hoc testing, or by monkey testing, or by negative testing, or by gorilla testing, right? So now there is a questions in your mind, then why we will do ad hoc testing? So as you have already know that whenever any developer whenever the developer has developed any product, so obviously they will pass that build to the test engineer. So developer will give the build to the test engineer. Then as a tester, what we will do? First we will do the smoke testing. So by smoke testing we can assure that what build or which build has given by the developer to us, that is testable or acceptable or not. That is testable or not, or acceptable or not. So first we have to check that. So whenever any build is given by the developer to us or test engineer, so first thing that we have to do the smoke testing. So by the smoke testing we can assure that yes, whatever build is given by the developer, that build is testable or not, or acceptable or not. So by smoke testing, what we will do? If there is any critical feature on the applications, so we can check that. Okay, so we will check that critical features of that application. So if that is passed, okay, no problem. If that is fail, so if the smoke testing fail, then what we will do? We will again revert back to the build to the developer, and we will tell that hey devs, there is some issue in that build. So can you please fix that? So as per our issues, developer will again redevelop that applications or that product or that feature, right? That means what we will do? That means what we are doing in smoke testing. So basically in smoke testing we are checking the basic and critical features of an application. that those applications, those features are working perfectly fine or not. Means we are doing the positive testing. So as we are doing some basic and critical feature applications, means we are doing the positive testing. So there is no negative testing. So whenever we do the smoke testing, we are not doing any type of ad hoc testing, right? But when the smoke testing will be done, and then we are make sure that when the smoke testing is done, now we can assure that we have checked that basic and critical feature, and we are assured that yes, the smoke testing is passed. That means the build is acceptable and the build is testable. We are giving the green signal, okay, because smoke testing says that the build is acceptable or not, or the build is testable or not. So now smoke testing is passed, and we can say that yes, the build is acceptable and the build is testable, right? Then after smoke testing, what we will do? We will do the unit testing, okay. We will do the After that we will do the integration testing. Then after that we will do the system testing. So means in unit testing, what we are doing, we are checking the unit. So single unit we are testing. And integration testing, we are testing two module or more than module with integrated together, and we are checking. And system testing, we are testing all the system as a group. That is perfectly fine. So in all of this testing, basically we are doing the positive testing, okay. So now in this step, so now there is a question that then why or when we will do the when we will do the ad hoc testing. So whenever we are doing the integration testing or unit testing or system testing, we have to make sure that on those testing types we are also testing the ad hoc testing, okay. Then how? So whenever the developer is given the build to the test engineer, so first what we will do, we will do the unit testing. Let's say as a tester, first we will do the unit testing. So in unit testing, we are checking any single unit. So whenever we are testing any unit, obviously we have to test the ad hoc testing on that unit testing also. Suppose, let's give one example. Suppose this is an text field, okay, and this text field, let's say accept uh, 0 to 9 digit. This text field can accept only 0 to 9 digit. That means whenever we are doing unit testing, so we are testing that yes, whenever we will do the unit testing, we will put any value between 0 to 9, and we have all we will make the status as a pass. So 0 to 9 is acceptable. Whenever we are doing this unit testing, we have to also check that by using some negative value. Let's say we are putting this value here, ABC1. So we are putting this negative value. That means we are testing randomly. Okay, so unit testing, whenever we are doing unit testing, we have to do the ad hoc testing. Then whenever after unit testing, whenever we are doing the integration testing, then also we have to do the ad hoc testing. Whenever we are doing system testing, then also we have to do the ad hoc testing. Then we can assure that yes, my software application is working perfectly fine. We have do lots of ad hoc testing on different testing types, right? So this is the main thing of ad hoc testing. Now there will be, I'm giving you some basic example of ad hoc testing. Now what is the basic example of ad hoc testing? Suppose, let's say there is a browser back button. So whenever we are doing any, whenever we are developing any application, let's say this is one application. So I'm giving one very basic example. So this is one page, this is the login page, this is the sign up page, or this is the home page, so this is the dashboard page. So lots of pages are there. Suppose whenever the client has given some requirement to us, they are not says like that, if we do the browser back, it will come to this page. If we do the browser back, it will come to this page. That is not. So whenever we are testing that, obviously we'll suppose there is a one, suppose one button is there in that application, it says that it's a back button, so like that this some arrow is there, so that indicates that if we click on that button, that will uh, I mean back to the previous page. Okay, sometimes we are not clicking on that part, we are directly clicking on the browser back button, let's say this type of button. So browser back button, so whenever we are doing the browser back button, we have to also check that, we have to also make sure that the same thing will be happen by doing that browser back button click. Okay, so that is the one ad hoc testing example. Or the second example I can give you that, suppose, so everybody we have used the Gmail application, so everybody we have a Gmail. I am giving you one very clear example. So whenever, suppose in Google Chrome, suppose in Chrome, so this is my Chrome, and we have in that Chrome browser we have logged in our Gmail. Okay, and also in that Firefox browser also, I have logged in my same Gmail ID. So one login is from Chrome browser, another login is from Firefox browser. Now let's say from the Chrome browser I have reset my password. Okay, so I have reset my password, and after resetting password, easily I can see the inbox page. So I have reset the password. So then if I want to send any type of mail from that Firefox browser, it should not open. Whenever we are doing any action on that Firefox browser, it will automatically logged out. It should be, because in Chrome browser the same email ID's password I have changed. Now how can I send some mail from that same email ID with different password? It may not be, right? So this is one ad hoc testing, very basic example. So whenever we are testing this type of applications, in future if you are testing any type of applications, then obviously you have to follow the same scenario. Okay, you have to use different browser, and then from one browser you have logged out, and the another browser you want to do some actions. It should not be, because it should says that you have already logged out. It should says, okay, already logged out. So this is the very common example and very interesting example for ad hoc testing, and we have to make sure that we have to remember that thing. Okay, so now you guys are very understand that what is ad hoc testing. So now coming to the next, what is the advantages of ad hoc testing? Obviously there should some advantages of ad hoc testing. So what is that advantage? First advantage I can say that in ad hoc testing can be done at any phase of SDLC. So this is the advantage. So in advantage we can say that ad hoc testing can be done at any phase of SDLC. Can be done at any phase of SDLC means any phase of software development lifecycle model. So anytime, anywhere, testing can be done to uncover issues. That is the first point. So what is the first point? So ad hoc testing can be done at any phase of SDLC process. Anytime, anywhere, testing can be done to uncover issues. That is the first point. And now second point. What is the second point of advantage? So even the developer can work on ad hoc testing. So it is not just limited to the testing team. So developer can do the ad hoc testing also. Whenever developer are doing unit testing, they can also test ad hoc testing also. Okay, so they can be test. Okay, so Even the developer can work on ad hoc testing, so it is not just limited to the testing team. And third one is that ad hoc testing help us to find out explode areas in the test cases. It improves the immunity of the product, it improves the quality of the product, because we are randomly testing anything, so that's why it improves the quality of the product. Lots of negative testing we will follow this ad hoc testing, so that's why the quality should be good. And the fourth point is that we can say that it saves lots of time, as because there is no plan, there is no document, there is no test case design. We are just randomly testing, we are just doing some monkey testing on that. So as we are doing randomly testing, so ad hoc testing, in ad hoc testing there is no planning, there is no test document, there is no test case design. So these are the advantages of ad hoc testing. And now coming to the next one is that what is the disadvantages of ad hoc testing. So lots of disadvantages also is there, like, so disadvantage we can say that disadvantages. So disadvantages we can say that first point is that, so without any test case, without any document, sometimes it might be difficult to reproduce any issues. Suppose we have found any issues, uh, uh, 2 months back, 2 months back we got some issue. Okay, now after 2 months, it is very critical, it is very critical to reproduce the same issue, because we don't have any test cases, we don't have any document. So without any test case, without any documentation, it might be difficult to reproduce the issue. That is the first thing. And what is the second thing? Second thing is very very vital. So for that ad hoc testing, tester should have good and in-depth knowledge, and then I mean the tester should have pure understanding capability of any product. Okay, means as you are doing random testing, so for the random testing there is no requirement, there is no documentation, there is no test planning, no test case design. So as a freshers, we are not, I mean, eligible for doing that ad hoc testing. We can't do that. Never. We cannot do any type of ad hoc testing as a freshers. So that is the disadvantage. So whenever we are doing ad hoc testing, we have to make sure that we have in-depth knowledge and proper understanding power. Okay, then we can do the ad hoc testing. Now point number 3 of disadvantage. So in ad hoc testing there is no guarantee that an error would be found. There is no guarantee. And next one I can tell you that tester may not be able to recollect the exact scenario in the future, as they are not documented, as I've already told you. So if there is no documentation, that's why tester might not be able to recollect the exact scenario in the future. Okay, so these are the disadvantages of the ad hoc testing. So now you guys are very very much clear about what is ad hoc testing. So in ad hoc testing, so in general, the different testing types like integration testing, unit testing, system testing, what we will do, we will check the happy path, we will check the happy flow of an application. So we will check the happy path of an application. Now what is happy path? Happy path or happy flow? Happy flow means, so happy flow means as per requirement my application is working perfectly fine or not. So in ad hoc testing we are not doing happy path testing on that ad hoc testing type. Okay, so we have to do the random testing. Okay, we have to do the random testing for the ad hoc testing. So when we will do ad hoc testing, so if we have a chance or if we have a time in our hand or in our, I mean, sprint, sprint time, if there is lots of time to deliver the product, then obviously we have to follow that ad hoc testing. Okay, so now you guys are very much clear about ad hoc testing. The thing is that in ad hoc testing there is no documentation, no test cases, no test case design, no test planning, nothing. We have to check any application randomly to make sure that the application is working perfectly fine or not without looking the any requirement. So that is called ad hoc testing. Okay, so now you guys are very much clear about that what is ad hoc testing. So if you guys have any doubt, please comment me. If you guys like my video, one thumbs up, and share to your friends. Okay, and subscribe to my channel EduPaat and clicking on the bell icon so that you guys will get my videos update notifications first. So see you in the next videos with some interesting topic of software testing. Thank you.